take your questions, and as usual, folks, they gave me a list of the people I'm going to call on. So,
are you so confident he'll change his behavior, Mr. President?
Yeah, I'm not confident he'll change behavior. What the hell? What do you do all the time? So when did I say I was confident?
You said in the next 6 months.
I said.
Sounds like somebody needs a nap. Somebody didn't get their daily sippy cup filled with warm milk. 46, President of the United States, installed puppet, having a bad day at the G7, having a bad week at the G7. He had a joint conference meeting with Vladimir Putin today. Didn't really go well. Did not show American strength. Actually made the Russian president look stronger than him, which is actually good optics for the Russians. But I think it's clear by now that America is weak again, America is last again, and America is a joke again on the world stage. So we're going to get into this tonight. And also, CNN fake news was actually going at Biden. Is the honeymoon over? Don't know. Is it over now? I mean, it's pretty rare to see CNN actually going after Joe Biden in a press conference and then watching some of their correspondents actually say that they've never seen a president as pampered as he. Yes, CNN did say that. I'm going to play the clips, but I think it's hilarious. I think it's interesting, but also the Biden administration is encouraging Americans to report. And I say report. Any Americans that they declare or suspect to be a threat. We're going to get into whatever the heck that means tonight as well. So welcome to Drew Hernandez Live. My name is Drew Hernandez, hopefully one of your favorite podcast hosts here on YouTube. If you guys can do me a huge favor and subscribe to the channel immediately right now and smash that like button, destroy that like button, hit that bell notification and toggle on the all selection. That really does help me as a creator and a host on this channel. But if you would like to help me even more, we are extremely shadow banned here on Drew Hernandez Live on this YouTube channel. And we're 100% supported by the people, we the people, that is every single one of you, my people. Worldwide, not just Americans, but worldwide. So if you guys would like to give a one-time donation on my website, drhlive.com, the link is in the description, or join the DH Alliance today for as low as $5 a month. That is how you can support me as well. Or go check out some merch in the merch store. Every single one of these episodes are supported by the people, including the merch store. The link is in the description below. Or we do super chats at the end of every single show, whether you want to drop one now, in the middle of the show after something I say crazy, or at the end of the show. We do Q&As at the end of every single show. We're extremely deboosted on this channel, so we need you guys to stay afloat on this show. So thank you guys very much, and this is the way. We're going to get into this. Here we go. Okay, Biden failed miserably. I'm pretty sure you guys saw all the footage and the action and the movement on Twitter. President Biden representing the United States of America at the G7 summit. Not doing too well, does not have any comparison to Donald Trump, who came before him. But I think what we're starting to see now is that it is an absolute joke what is happening to this presidency and what's taking place with this presidency. So we will continue to see just how much of a joke that this administration continues to become and continues to make the United States of America to be and to look like. So President Biden has failed miserably to represent the United States today. Particularly, I wanted to get into this today because all we've been hearing, especially the last 4 years under Donald Trump, Russia, Donald Trump colluded with the Russians, and the Russian government is basically running the American government. What we saw today, we had Joe Biden, installed puppet of a president, Joe Biden, 46, had a joint meeting with Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, and it didn't look too well. It didn't go too well. He showed no strength, showed more weakness, more passiveness, didn't ask anything about the recent hacks aggressively or in a way that was actually getting down to some answers. You're not going to start a third world war on that, a nuclear war, but I mean, the least you could do is actually get into that very aggressively. I mean, you're the leader of the free world. But also, the reaction of the American media was something that we've never seen as well. So let's get some of this story up, if we can get this up. Polak, Joe Biden got nothing in Geneva summit with Russia's Vladimir Putin. President Joe Biden gave Russian President Vladimir Putin almost everything he could have wanted at their Geneva summit. He elevated Putin above other leaders, including American allies, which is a form of American weakness on this kind of stage. He elevated Putin above other leaders, including American allies, and failed to force any real concessions on Russian policy. The degree to which the summit was a disaster became evident when Putin emerged for his press conference alone with a forum all to himself. Not the American president, no, we are not number one any longer on these kinds of stages. Now they're giving the stage over to the Russian president. Now, here's some reason as to why. The Biden team did not want to appear with Putin at a joint press conference after the meeting, both because Biden would look frail next to Putin and because of the media dogma that President Donald Trump had somehow done something terrible by behaving cordially when appearing alongside Putin a few years ago in 2018 in Finland, Helsinki. Putin fielded softball questions from Russian news agencies, but he also welcomed hostile questions from the United States media. In fact, Putin, an enemy of press freedom, was more polite than Biden would be and took far tougher questions. The opportunity to defend his own position, and to attack the United States without fear of contradiction with a massive gift to the Russian president, he used the old Soviet tactic of pointing to American problems as a way of deflecting from questions about human rights and political opposition. He did so without fear of contradiction when he cited the Black Lives Matter movement as an example of human rights abuses in the United States. He knew no American journalist would object. So they're asking Vladimir Putin, they're asking him one-on-one in his press conference about the crimes against humanity under his leadership for decades in Russia. And his response is, well, what about your crimes against humanity? Because the Black Lives Matter movement resembles that in the United States of America. And of course, the liberal media is going to shut up because they cannot object. See how that works? Biden tried to use his own press conference to make all kinds of claims about tough talk to the Russian president during their 2-hour meeting. Biden claimed falsely that a meeting of that length was unprecedented between two heads of a state. In fact, Trump met with Putin for 2 hours in 2017. Isn't it funny how they just claim that Donald Trump is such a bad guy, but they're constantly trying to either do what he did or outdo what he did? Anybody ever notice that? I notice that just about every day with these people. Whether it's the border, foreign policy, or something domestic here at home, whatever it is, they're taking what he did, they slander it, they destroy it, and they try to do it or outdo it. Every single time with these people. It was impossible to verify Biden's claims without Putin there to respond, and Biden has a history of exaggerating his own bravery when citing conversations with foreign leaders. Why? Because Joe Biden is a liar and he probably doesn't even remember the conversations. Reporters pressed the two leaders separately to reveal what commitments, if any, Putin had made to change Russia's aggressive behavior, but there were none. We obviously know this man is a extreme dictator. He's an authoritarian psychopath, but, Joe Biden's too scared to, show any greater leadership than that. Putin walks away from Geneva with no significant response to cyber attacks. You guys know what's going on with the meat companies, and Joe Biden publicly blamed a Russian hacker because of the pipeline that was hacked, right? The cyber, and they actually paid a cyber. They paid the ransom. They literally paid the ransom. It was cyber ransomware, and they paid it. I think in Bitcoin, they paid it. And Joe Biden kept saying, this stuff happens. It happens. It was a Russian hacker from Russia. It happens. It happens. No answers. The American president does not get an answer for you. Putin walks away from Geneva with no significant response of cyber attacks with the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which Trump had opposed, and with no real pushback against his aggression in Ukraine. Notably, Biden met with Putin before meeting with the Ukrainian president. I don't want to botch his name. Vladimir Zelensky. The response of the American media echoed Biden's posture of appeasement. CNN, which had raised the alarm when Trump and Putin appeared to get together with one another, gushed about Biden's optimistic tone at the summit and how wonderful it was that Biden and Putin seemed to have had a friendly conversation. At one point, the two leaders were so cozy that the White House had to walk back an apparent nod by Biden when he was asked if he trusted Putin. They couldn't appear to be cordial with each other because that would mean that he's in bed with Russia. That's what they did to Trump. Biden seemed unwilling to use any leverage against Putin, a fact that even the American media noted. with one journalist desperately asking whether the administration might consider using the United States military to stop cyber attacks. Biden's strategy toward Putin seems to be that he can be convinced to behave more responsibly if he is told that he needs a better global image, if he wants to be taken seriously by the media and American investors. What Biden does not get, and what President Obama does not get, and the Secretary of State John Kerry did not get, is that Putin does not care. That is true. That is true. Putin cares more about oil and guns and currency and power. He plays by what Kerry once complained after the Russian invasion of Crimea, our 19th century rules. Biden does not know how to do the same. During the 2020 campaign, Biden claimed that Trump was unwilling to take on Putin, but Putin leaves Geneva a winner, and Joe Biden got nothing. Let's take this down. You know, it's an embarrassment to the country. It shows American weakness on the world stage, especially when you're on the same stage with Russia and these world powers that actually have some presence in the world. When you're dealing with Russia, when you're dealing with China, when you're dealing with some of these, obviously they're not the superpowers of the world, but they are on the superpower world stage. Russia is definitely a threat. China is definitely a threat. Obviously, Ukraine and Iran are definitely threats, and that's a whole other story. Taxpayer money is going to fuel domestic terrorist organizations. Iran is the number one donator to not just domestic terrorists, but literal terrorists, especially in the Middle East and worldwide. But the point here is what a lot of liberals don't understand, and you never really hear about this talked about in liberal media on CNN, MSNBC, when it comes to foreign policy and it comes to American strength being shown on the world stage. The rest of the world doesn't care. You have to understand, Russia, Iran, China, these people that are threats to the United States of America, they might claim to be allies, but they're not allies because they attack our country cyberly. China, obviously. Russia, obviously. Iran doesn't want to be our friend. They call death to America almost every day in their protests. What the liberal media doesn't talk about is, and this is what Trump tried to do a lot, and I'm not sitting here simping for Trump. I'm just trying to show you an example, is when you have someone in the Oval Office, the rest of the world doesn't give a damn about what America is saying or the American people are saying or what they're protesting about. For example, if the American people think that Donald Trump is too mean and too aggressive, that's what we need on the world stage when you're dealing with Russia and you're dealing with China and you're dealing with Iran. So when the court of opinion, right, votes for a president that is extremely passive, moderately tempered, that is a doormat, because that's what the American people wanted. That's what the American people are going to expect when they walk into meetings with these dictators and these psychopaths on the world stage that want to take over America. So on their side, that's a big W for Iran. That's a big W for China. That's a big W for Russia, because the American people are now wanting leadership that's passive and a literal doormat, and that's not aggressive, and that's not going to stand their ground on the world stage. Not just at home for the optics on CNN and MSNBC and all the television shows that these woketards watch on a nightly basis. They want that on the world stage too. But these morons don't understand is that's what our enemies want. Our enemies want a passive doormat of a leader that they could just walk all over, that's not going to say anything or do anything to protect the American people. If you think Joe Biden is that guy, you're completely wrong. Not only is he disconnected from reality, he's losing his mind, but he's not going to stand up against Americans' enemies. He's not. He's just not. He's going to get in bed with them and try and make money off of that. That's what he's going to do for him and his own family, because that's his history of what he's done. Look at Hunter Biden and the crime family with the Biden family from head to toe. This is what we continue to see with Hunter Biden and all the emails. They're constantly working in cahoots with these foreign governments to fill their own pockets and build their own wealth. Americans' enemies. People that are not friends to America. What am I saying? This is what I want people to understand. And if there's people that are watching me, it matters that there's strength in the White House. It matters that there's strength in the Oval Office, because when these people get on the world stage and are standing next to other world leaders, that represents you. And right now, whether you're a liberal Democrat or a conservative Republican or a centrist and identify as nothing, you look weak right now. You look pathetic right now. Because Joe Biden goes out there. Listen, I know, I get it. Trust me. Not my president, not my president. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you. The guy is the installed president. He's out there representing the United States. And yes, it does represent you. I know it doesn't, but the optics on the world stage, that's how the world is communicating to itself. Wow, look at those Americans. Look what they've done. What a weak joke of a president. Doesn't even challenge the great Vladimir Putin. This is how foreign countries think. That's how competitive and aggressive they are against you. But the woke tards out there, they don't think this way. They don't care. You don't believe me? Check this out. Let's get this up. I tweeted this earlier. And President Biden, in his one-on-one meeting with Vladimir Putin, brought freaking flashcards to his meeting because he just obviously can't remember anything. And you're dealing with one of the most dangerous men on the face of planet Earth, one of the most powerful men on the face of planet Earth. The American president, on a one-on-one meeting, rolls in with flashcards. I don't know. Does that make anybody proud? Vladimir Putin was sitting there. There's all kinds of pictures. No flashcards. Guy's just sitting there. It's like just straight up ready for the meeting. Like, let's go. Let's do this. But you got this old fart in here that can't remember his own last name half of the time. Can't even remember that he's the president. He thought he was still running for the Senate when he was running for the president. You remember that in 2020? Remember the campaign trail? That's why he needs these freaking no cards. This is someone that does not belong in this position. If our president needs freaking flashcards in a one-on-one meeting with one of the most dangerous politicians on the face of the globe, we're a joke, ladies and gentlemen. We are a joke. I'll leave it at that. Let's get this down. So, speaking of Biden, they had themselves, they both had separate press conferences, obviously because the Biden administration doesn't want to appear to be friendly with Vladimir Putin, which I don't blame them. But what Donald Trump was trying to do was kill two birds with one stone, because the American media was saying, remember when Trump was president and he was having meetings with these very dangerous men? You know why he did that? Number one, because the American left was saying Donald Trump is going to cause the next nuclear third war, Holocaust. Remember that? He doesn't have the temperament. He's going to start a nuclear war with Putin, with North Korea, with Kim Jong-un. He's going to start. You guys remember all that rhetoric? You remember that, right? Never happened. Trump was diplomatic with these people. Trump was seeking to be a peacemaker, to have peace. Would you rather have peace or would you rather have war? So Trump took that route. You remember when he was president? He was diplomatic with these people. He did the best that he possibly could to seek peace between our countries, with Russia, with North Korea, and America's enemies. And people that needed to be taken care of, especially in the Middle East, they were taken care of. You remember that? Remember all that footage of the Moab, the mother of all bombs? And people were like, what the hell, dude? Like they were bombing terrorists. They were bombing ISIS. And the left was like, what are you doing? Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is this. The reason why Trump was trying to be diplomatic with dictators like in North Korea and in Russia was because the American left was saying that he was actually going to start a world war with these people, a nuclear war with these people. He proved them wrong. But he also had to show American strength. You have to understand, when these politicians do these things, they're all just measuring, literally, they're all just measuring, you guys know what I'm talking about. They're measuring their muscles. They're measuring who's got the biggest freaking swinging dong in the game. All right. That's what these people do. All right. That's how it is. And you know how Donald Trump is. And when these politicians get into it, that's what they're doing. Who's got the better optics? Who looks the strongest on the world stage? And Biden ain't looking like it right now. Straight up. So Trump was trying to prove to the American people that he was diplomatic, but he also had strength, foreign and abroad, and that is what he did. What Biden has done, and he's failed on both ends. Biden's just a damn doormat. Biden doesn't even challenge the Russian president. Biden can't even in the same room ask some serious questions. It's not going to start a third world war. But Biden doesn't represent you. Why? Because Biden is a coward. And because Biden doesn't have any interest on these things. Because Joe Biden is an installed puppet. And because Joe Biden is involved with some of this corruption in these foreign countries. Putting massive bank in his own pockets. Joe Biden does not represent American strength. But anyways, they had their own separate press conferences. They weren't going to do a joint press conference, which I don't blame the Biden administration. I don't blame the Biden administration for wanting to look like a friend to Vladimir Putin. So then be aggressive. That's all you got to do is show American strength. Ask some serious questions. Some of these CNN reporters are asking Vladimir Putin some hard questions. Why can't we get the president of the United States in there? Come on, dude. What are you guys afraid of? What are these people? You guys are afraid? This is why America is weak again. Now, I say this. They had their separate solo press conferences, and Putin looked good. Biden looked like trash. And it was interesting because the American response was, I don't think Joe Biden was ready for it. I mean, the propaganda was being set up. At the beginning of the conference, Joe Biden gives his remarks and his speech, and then he comes out and says, like always, they gave me a list on reporters that I'm going to call upon. Controlled media. Controlled narrative for the American people back home and around the world. But you're also going to see reporters actually asking some hard questions and actually pushing on Biden, actually putting words in his mouth. I don't think he's used to this. And the old man got a little cranky. I think he needed a bottle of warm milk before this presser because it wasn't going well for him. But it was interesting to see a CNN reporter put words in Joe Biden's mouth. And then on the network later in the day, Joe Biden apologized. I think he said, sorry for being a wise guy, because he's a cuck. But CNN went on air and their correspondents were saying that they have never seen a president so protected by their media team to not take any questions. That's CNN saying that? When you got CNN calling you out, you know it's bad. Anyways, for those of you that think I'm full of crap and I'm just giving you some conservative talking points, here's the video.
I'll take your questions, and as usual, folks, they gave me a list of the people I'm going to call on. So,
Are you so confident he'll change his behavior, Mr. President?
I'm not confident in changing behavior. What do you do all the time?
So
when did I say I was confident?
You said in the next 6 months you'll be able to determine.
What I said was, let's get it straight. I said what will change their behavior is if the rest of the world reacts to them and it diminishes their standing in the world. I'm not confident of anything. I'm just stating the fact.
But given his past behavior has not changed, and in that press conference, after sitting down with you for several hours, he denied any involvement in cyber attacks. He downplayed human rights abuses. He even refused to say Alexei Navalny's name. So how does that account to a constructive meeting as President Putin?
You don't understand that. You're in the wrong business.
Is the summit with China?
Oh, Biden gets spicy.
Quickly, cool.
He said, if you don't understand that, then you don't understand what you're talking
What
about.
we've not seen him do is answer questions like that without his aides screaming at him to stop. I have never seen a president, covering the last 4 of them, who is so protected by his aides in terms of often not wanting him to answer some questions.
CNN, man, that is a first. I was shocked to see that CNN reporter actually pushing back on Joe Biden. And I was shocked to see the correspondents actually come on the network and say something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if the guy got fired immediately and terminated right after he said such a thing against our dear leader, Joe Biden. How dare you say anything against them? Go to the gulag immediately. You've become a Trump supporter. It's like, no, I'm just reporting the news. You have become a Trump supporter. You spoke out against Biden. You're a Trump supporter. That's how these people think, man, especially in the media. It's freaking sad. One thing's for sure. You know, in the clip where Biden's like, when did I say I was confident? It's like, yeah, yes, sir. We understand, sir. Yes, we know. You are not confident in anything. We understand that, sir. Yeah, that we know, sir. We know. You don't need to lecture us, sir. Sir. All these freaking yes men in this administration. But notice how the established propaganda, this is how they try and set up the narrative. The administration tries to get ahead of the media and control the media by sending in pre-vetted list of reporters that have been green-lit to be called upon to answer a question that they ask of the president of the United States. People don't understand this, man. This is what foreign countries do. This is what dictatorships do. They pre-screen the media. They already know what they want to say. They tell the reporters what they want them to say, so they get the right results. It's all a show. And this is what the Biden administration is practicing as we speak. Why can't he just go in there and just call upon people? Number one, because he's not all mentally there. And number two, because they literally want a narrative to be put out. That's what they want. It's propaganda. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble again. Like always, they give me a list. It's like they're not even trying to hide it anymore. They're just straight up out in the open with their propaganda. They don't care. Why don't they care? Because they're in power and they know there ain't nothing you can do about it. That's how these people think. I'm going to be honest, man. I don't think I've ever seen Biden that spicy. Have you guys? I mean, man, he definitely needed his sippy cup. He definitely needed his milk. I don't think he had his daily nap. I think Biden was up for way too long. I don't think he's used to being up that long. Because number one, he's not used to being pushed like that. This is like Obama 2.0. The Obama years, the media was just in love with him, just slobbering over the Biden administration, slobbering over Joe Biden, just licking their faces like, oh my gosh, this is like the second coming of Jesus Christ. Let's all just get on our knees and worship in spirit and truth. That's like the media treatment that Obama got, and Biden was right there. And now that Biden is president, we're starting to see the same thing. This denial, this propaganda, I think the propaganda is even worse. They're trying to cover up who he really is, but it was interesting. Every now and then you'll see a little breach in the matrix. Every now and then you'll see a little puncture in the simulation. And I think we got a little bit of that today. For whatever reason, CNN was asking some hard questions. And she was asking him, why are you so confident that Vladimir Putin is going to change his behavior? And you just see Biden just turn around just like, did you say woman? They're like, oh no, sir. You could just tell, like, the aides, the press aides are on. Did you get him the milk? Did you give him the, please tell us you got him his warm, sippy cup of milk. Did he have the milk? They're like, we forgot. They're like, oh God, here we go. And there goes Biden, that grumpy, cranky old man, dude, just like straight up, just with his wagging that big old white finger. With that white privilege, right? With that white privilege just all over, all up in your face, son. Just wagging that big old white finger, man. Just like, bah, 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 bah. You guys see that in the footage? But listen, man, he's not used to it. And yes, I'm being sarcastic for those of you that know me, okay? He's not used to it. Biden is not used to being pressed like that. And that was a softball question. Come on, man. Do you know why Biden responded like that? Number one, because he's a cranky old man that didn't have his warm sippy cup of milk and his daily nap. But two, he responded that way because Biden is not used to being pressed like that. He's not used to people putting words in his mouth. Notice how he had to come out like Trump would usually come out and have to correct the record. Biden's not used to that. Why? Because the propaganda, the lovemaking, the licking of the faces, and just everything just being laid out for him to look like the dear leader of the country that is just perfect and everybody loves. He's just used to that. But anytime, every now and then, you'll get a little breach in the simulation. And CNN did that today. I was surprised to see CNN come out and say that that they've never seen a president so protected like this. To not be able to answer questions, it must tell you something. Something's wrong. Something's off. This president cannot go out on his own. What kind of president of the United States of America cannot handle something as simple as a press conference solo? You mean to tell me that that individual is ready to go on that world stage and represent you and me regardless of our politics? You mean to tell me an old fart like Biden that can't even remember while he's running for president if he's running for president and says he's running for the Senate, botching all of his words, you mean to tell me that this individual that cannot handle a presser by himself is going to be ready and capable to lead the United States of America? We're in trouble, gang. We're in trouble. Is the honeymoon over? You know, I think the honeymoon might be, I don't know. Will these people at CNN be reprimanded and terminated for daring to speak out against the dear leader, Joe Biden? Will they be reprimanded? Will they be terminated? I don't know. Do you guys think the honeymoon is over? Let me know in the comment section below. I don't know. Is the honeymoon over? All the smooching and the kissing and the licking of the face and the love making out in the open with the Biden administration, everything's just set out and looks perfect for them, as always. I don't know. We'll see. Will the media treatment change? I don't know. I would say no, because I think this was just a brief breach in the matrix that we get every now and then. But I don't know, man. I think that Biden is a mess, and as an American myself, I am embarrassed. I am embarrassed. And I think every single one of us are embarrassed. If you're not embarrassed by this man, I honestly don't know what to tell you at this point. So here's the top story of the night. You guys ready for this? Let's get this up. This is something that really, really, really needs to be reported, especially if you're not, everyone needs to know this, okay? Doesn't matter your politics. Right now, they're going after conservatives. Right now, they're going after Trump supporters. Right now, they're going after anyone that identifies as a Republican or a Christian. But for all you lefties out there, you think you're on the right side? Think again. They'll come for you next. That's how it works. It's not a matter if you're on the right that you're in the wrong. And it's not a matter if you're on the left that keeps you safe. It's who's in power that gets to define who's in the right and who's in the wrong. That's where this country is going. You don't believe me? Take a look at this. The Biden administration asks Americans to report potentially radicalized friends and family. Okay. Are we talking about ISIS here? I could agree with that, right? Are we talking about terrorists? Are we talking about Al-Qaeda? Are we talking about real domestic terrorists? Are we talking about threats to society? I can get with that. Well, let's dig a little deeper and see exactly what this means. And this is the problem. They get to define who's radicalized. We're talking about the federal government here. President Joe Biden's administration announced their plans to create ways for Americans to report radicalized friends and family to the government in an effort to fight domestic terrorism. In a conversation with reporters, one senior administration official explained the importance of stopping politically fueled violence before it started. Oh yeah, is she talking about Antifa, Black Lives Matter? Huh? No, she's talking about the right. We will work to improve public awareness of federal resources to address concerning or threatening behavior before violence occurs, the official said. The officials cited the Department of Homeland Security's If You See Something, Say Something campaign to help stop radical Islamic terror as a domestic possibility, but that's not what they're talking about. This involves creating contexts in which those who are family members or friends of coworkers know that there are pathways and avenues to raise concerns and seek help for those who they have perceived to be radicalizing and potentially radicalizing towards violence, the official said. Biden began his presidency with a stark warning in his inauguration speech that the rise in political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism, that we must confront and we will defeat. This is where this is coming from in the context of white supremacy being the greatest domestic terrorist threat in the United States of America. How many times have you heard Biden say that? Huh? Many times. On June 1st, Biden described the threat from white supremacy as the most lethal threat to the homeland today. The Biden administration said it would also work with large technology companies and increased information sharing to help combat radicalization. 1984, Winston. Any particular tech company often knows its own platform very well, the official noted. But the government sees things, actually, threats of violence across platforms. They see the relationship between online recruitment, radicalization, and violence in the physical world. The Department of Homeland Security also plans to deploy digital literacy and digital fitness programs to help combat malicious content online that bad actors deliberately try to disseminate. The official reassured reporters that the administration's new strategies would remain laser focused on stopping violent acts. I guarantee you, they will not be looking into Antifa and they will not be looking into Black Lives Matter. I can assure you they won't. This is going against Trump supporters. White supremacy. The official, this is a strategy that is agnostic as to political ideology or off the spectrum. The official said, what matters is when individuals take their political or other grievances and turn that unacceptably, unlawfully into violent action. The official added the Biden administration was taking the threat of domestic terrorism seriously and would redirect the focus of intelligence agencies on internal threats. We are investing many agencies of the government and resourcing them appropriately and asking our citizens to participate, the official said, because ultimately this is really about homeland security being a responsibility of each citizen of our country to help us achieve. Let's take this down. Communist vibes much? 1984, Winston. Listen, here's why this matters. This matters because, listen, I have no issue. It's like the neighborhood watch. You see something, say something. I have no issue if we're dealing with real domestic terrorists, if we're dealing with ISIS, Al-Qaeda, real domestic terror, white supremacy groups, which do exist, real domestic terrorist, black supremacist groups, they do exist. We're dealing with Antifa. We're dealing with some violent criminals, cartels in the United States of America that are active in our country. I have no issues reporting these people. The problem is the federal government is now redefining what domestic terrorism is. And Joe Biden, through the federal government, according to their intel, has been coming out and revealing to the American people, this is what they've been saying in the Biden administration and all the federal government, that the greatest domestic terrorist threat right now in 2021, they claim, is white supremacy. What does that mean? Notice how they don't define it. This is 1984. They're getting technology involved. They're getting the technocrats involved. They're getting big tech involved. The federal government is now getting involved with this, and they are getting the American people, the everyday American people. They're calling on people to report each other without giving a clear definition of what they are saying is an actual domestic terrorist in the United States of America. Because in their minds, especially after January 6th, if you're wearing a MAGA hat, you're a domestic terrorist. You must be a white supremacist. If you show any of those signs, what are the signs? A Trump hat? A MAGA hat? Wearing red? I mean, this is it, is if family members, now you're going to have family members reporting each other. This is 1984, man, unfolding right before our eyes. The federal government is trying to make it sound like a good thing. But what people need to understand is that when the federal government, when the authoritarian psychopaths start to define what everything actually means, and it doesn't correspond with reality or statistics, you know you got a problem on your hands. Because white supremacy to these people is just white people. According to Black Lives Matter and Antifa, white supremacy to these people is just the white population being the majority in this country. That's a fact. You know how many people in this country believe that just because white people are the majority in this country, that is white supremacy? Millions of people believe this stuff. And now you're starting to see the critical race theory in the military. The critical race theory is in the federal government. The critical race theory is in the FBI, in the CIA. It's obviously in the NSA. If now they're going to want to get technology involved and surveillance involved. Listen, we are living in 1984. Biden 1984, right before our eyes. Who's a white supremacist? I get called a white supremacist all day long on Twitter. These people define what this means. Even though the definition doesn't correspond with reality. I'll use myself as an example. Do you know how many messages I get from white people on the left on Twitter calling me a white supremacist? And I'm like, hey, I'm Latino, I'm brown, I have no idea what you're talking about. You are a white supremacist because you have white supremacist thought. So these people tell me. That's their definition. I have white supremacist thought, so that makes me a white supremacist, even though I'm Latino and I'm brown, I'm Hispanic. These people are redefining terms. That critical race theory is in the military as I speak. So if you think that these people aren't going to start redefining terms, if you think that these definitions aren't going to be altered to fit their own agenda and what they want to do, you better think again, because this is Biden 1984. You're living it, you're seeing it, you're experiencing, and it's only getting worse. It's only been 4 months, gang. It's only been 4 months. Remember what happened after January 6th? Remember all the woke-tards and the authoritarian psychopaths that were on CNN saying, we need to take children away from Trump supporters' parents and put them in re-education programs? On CNN, this was just a couple months ago. I covered it. This is what these people want. They will define to you what a white supremacist is. They will define to you what a domestic terrorist is, and you have no say about it. Oh, if you believe in Trump, you believe in capitalism, you believe in pro-Christian views. Oh, white supremacist, therefore domestic terrorist. Here comes the FBI to your front door. See how that works? Oh, you don't think that could happen? It's happened in history multiple times, my friend. You think that it can't happen in the United States of America? We're living under the censorship of freedom of speech on technological platforms, big tech platforms, right now as we speak. If you were to tell Americans, let's say 50 years ago, that something like that would happen, they wouldn't believe you. They wouldn't believe you. That's a fact. People would not believe you. That's the America we would live in right now, but that's where we are. And I think millions of people have been desensitized to the reality of how bad things really are. Don't put your hope in humanity. Don't put your hope in man. Put your hope in Christ Jesus on high above. But still, the Bible says to what? Be sober. That's mentally. And obviously, staying away from drugs. But to be vigilant. You don't just sit around on your hands and put your head in the sand and, Jesus is coming back. We're just going to do nothing. No, that is not how the Christian is meant to live their life. So right now, America, be vigilant, be sober, be open, be awake. Know your rights, stand on your rights, stand on your freedom. That is why I end every single show by saying what? Stay free. There's a reason why I say that. And I'll always say that till the very day that I die. Alrighty, guys. Well, let's do some super chats before we end the show tonight. If you guys got to jam out, please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification, and toggle on the all selection and smash that like button. And please share this video somewhere before you head out. Come on, man. It takes like 30 seconds. Copy the link, post it on your Facebook, post it on your Twitter, post it on your Parler, post it on your Gab. Get the word out, guys. We're extremely deboosted on this channel, so we could really use your help. And also consider joining the DH Alliance for as low as $5 a month. Or if you'd like to give a one-time donation to support this extremely shadow banned show, you can do so on my website, drewhlive.com, or leave a super chat to support the show. We're going to do that right now. Some people like to leave super chats on Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal and write a little note through the app. The link is in the description, and I'll read it on air and treat it like a super chat. So thank you guys very much for the continued support. I truly do appreciate it. I've been on the road. I've been reporting on the field a lot more frequently lately. So sometimes when I miss shows, it's not because I'm being lazy. It's because I'm out working doing something else. So I appreciate all the love, guys, and the support as we continue on through this journey. But thank you guys for the super chats. I truly do appreciate it. So let's get to some of these super chats tonight. We have a super chat from Whatever and Everything. We salute you. Whatever and Everything says, Drew, we are getting laughed at, spat on, shamed, and look weak. Yes. Yes, it's making everyone look bad. I am not weak. I agree. You're not. Neither am I. Biden voters should be ashamed. Yes, they should be ashamed of themselves. I truly believe people will never admit they regret voting for him. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I've been saying this to a lot of people lately. Think about the Obama years. What did Obama give us? 4 years of Obama. And I would say 4 years. No. 4 years of George Bush Jr., okay, an establishment Republican. And then we had 8 years of Obama decimating the country. That led to who? That gave us Donald Trump. That gave us the rise in a populist movement, the resurgence in American values. So what I've been telling people is things are bad, and things are probably going to get worse, my friends. Okay? We got Biden. It's only been 4 months, bro. It's only been 4 months, and it's this bad. The border, foreign policy, the economy, domestic issues. It's just breaking at the seams, right? It's only going to get worse, but we have hope in God. But look at history. When things get back like this, especially in America, it is going to give birth to some kind of revival or resurgence or reform in American politics. But what we want the most is a spiritual revival. Obviously, people come into Jesus. But 4 years of an establishment Republican and 8 years of a Democrat, Obama, led us to the birth of Donald Trump. So I think right now, and I try and have this hope, think of the millions of people that were not interested in politics. Think of the millions of people that were birthed in the Blexit movement, right? The Lexit movement, the walkaway movement. These movements where people, they divorced themselves from the Democrat Party, right? We saw that by the millions. My hope and my prayer is, again, because people are going to see just how much of a clown Joe Biden is and how they're destroying the country in just 4 months. My hope is we're going to see another major reformation, either upcoming in the midterms or the next presidential election. That's my hope. That's my prayer. Or if Biden wins again, maybe in 8 years we'll see something like that. Because there's no way that people are just going to continue to live like this and be like, oh, we just love living like this. We have another super chat from Whatever and Everything, a $5 super chat. We salute you. He also says, I'm trying to keep my calm, keep my cool. I pray no one comes at me the wrong way, Drew. I have had it. It's hard to be civil in an uncivil world. Yeah, man, just try not to blow out of character. The Bible makes it very clear. Be slow to speak, slow to anger, quick to listen, because the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. And trust me, if you need to defend yourself, you defend yourself. Okay, that's your God-given right. That's a whole other conversation, and God backs you up on that one. If you ever find yourself in a situation where your life is threatened, or you and your family, you defend yourself, and you know what I'm talking about. But don't let these people get you out of character to the point where you're going to end up, the FBI is going to end up coming to your house, and you're going to be thrown in prison for 25 to life forever because, you did something that just really, got you in a lot of trouble. I know you'd never do that, but don't let these people bring you down to this level. If anything, use all that righteous anger and get involved with something righteously where you can make some real and true change, whether it's politically, whether it's spiritually, or whether it's culturally in the culture, or whether it's scientifically through medicine, or whether it's through law or whatever. Just get involved and continue to push forward, man. I encourage you not to allow these people bring you down to their despicable level. We have another super chat from two super chats from Christopher Graves. We salute you with a $50 super chat and a $15 super chat. Thank you so much, Christopher. We salute you. Christopher says, former Vice President Biden is a clown. Couldn't agree more. But more and more people are waking up. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I agree with that. The people had to see this for themselves. It had to be this way. Stay up, Drew. Biden a punk. If the MSM officially turns on Biden, then expect Biden's export to be imminent.
He meant exit.
Exit. Oh, okay. Exit to be imminent. I agree, man. I 100% agree with you, Christopher. That's exactly what I was trying to say right now is sometimes in life, and as I get older, I understand this, especially being a Christian. Sometimes in life, we just don't learn by wisdom. We don't learn by knowledge. I could sit here and tell the American people every single day of my life, this is what's happening. Here are the facts. This is what's going to happen. We need to stay away. Don't go down that path. But sometimes we don't listen to the facts. We don't listen to the logic because our own arrogance, our own pride, we don't want to admit we're wrong. We don't want to appear to be on Trump's side, even though if Trump is on the side of truth. That's where a lot of Americans have found themselves in their stupidity and their pride has blinded them. So they accept the lie and they reject the truth. When people get to that point, the only way they're going to learn is if they feel something, is if they experience something. They're going to learn through experience. They're not going to learn through wisdom. They're not going to learn through given wisdom. I'll put it at that. They're not going to learn through given knowledge. They're going to learn through devastation and experience. And I think that's where we are right now. If people don't want to see the realities that Trump has been trying to warn us, that conservatives, populists, and centrists have been warning. Oh, you guys are just a bunch of conspiracy theorists. Oh, yeah? Like the origins of the Wuhan lab? How did that one turn out? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, we got another super chat from Press Day 34, PRESDE 34 with $10 super chat. We salute you. Drew, things may look bad right now, but I believe that these hard times will make us into strong men. You know what strong men do. Keep doing what you do. Absolutely, man. I don't want you guys to sit here and think that, I'm sitting here saying, oh my God, the world's going to end. I am the opposite alpha male. Trust me. This is why a lot of Christians and pastors don't like me, because I'm the one to actually stand up and fight and say, now's the time to stand up and stand our ground. Yes, things are getting worse, but obviously the Bible is very clear to count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that our faith is going to be grown, right? These are the things that happen to us. They're going to produce patience in us, produce endurance in us. These are the things that are going to make us more durable. They're going to give us more endurance, these trials. We have to count it all joy when we fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of our faith produces patience, but we have to let patience have its perfect work and allow it to run its course, that we may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. What that means is we have to allow these things to take place, because this pressure and these trials and these hard times are going to make us more durable and have better endurance for what's to come in the future. So don't get it twisted. I'm not one to sit here and say like, oh, everybody, it's so bad, it's all over. No, it ain't over. I'm just warning the American. Here's what people need to understand. In my mind, I'm not just a conservative talking head, okay? People need to understand about this. What I mean by that is when I do my show, when I do my content, I'm speaking to everybody. I'm speaking to the right. I'm speaking to the left. I'm speaking to the center. I'm speaking to Republicans. I'm speaking to Democrats. I'm speaking to Black Lives Matter. I'm speaking to Antifa. I'm speaking to Proud Boys. I'm speaking to conservatives. I'm speaking to Trump supporters. This show takes shots at everybody. And I say things in ways where conservatives are like, yeah, we know that. It's like, well, that's not for you, because I'm talking to the left right now. I'm not just this conservative talking head that just says everything that the right wants. So I say this publicly so people understand why I say or why I do the things that I do, is because I'm fully aware that the left is listening to me as well. So that's why I'll say things that may not make sense to you. And I'll say things like, hey, things are going to get worse, man. It's not getting any better. It's only 4 months. Obviously, conservatives know that, right? But I'm also aware that the left chimes in and listens to my show too. So hopefully they get red-pilled and wake up like you did one day. So, yeah. Alrighty, let's see if we have any more super chats here. We have another super chat from Rachel, $5 super chat. So Discord, need to connect my Patriots. Yes, we are going to get that off the ground. Just so people understand, I am now with Real America's Voice, so I'm on the network at least 3 times a day. So we're getting some of this stuff still going on the YouTube channel. So we should have that up and running very soon. So thank you, Rachel. We just have to make sure that everything that's on the Discord is everything that is still doable for our viewers. So thank you. Appreciate it. Let me see real quick. Yes. And a lot of people don't understand this. I want to say this too, I literally do this all by myself. Okay? My wife helps me push buttons every now and then. But everything you see on this show, from the edits to the post edits, the pre-edits to the actual show, everything that you see, I do this by myself. So if things take a little longer than usual, because people are like, dude, why is the intro so long? Because before I start the show, do you know what I'm doing? I'm on my phone and I'm taking the links and I'm posting them on all my social media. Okay? Usually people pay people to do this for them, but because I'm so shadow banned, I cannot raise money like that or monetize this channel to actually pay for producers and pay for stuff like that. So I literally do everything by myself. So if people are wondering why things take a little longer than usual, that's why. So thank you guys very much. We truly appreciate it. All right, guys, if you guys can do me a huge favor and share. Oh, we have another donation from Lola on Cash App. Lola says, with the $10 donation, Lola on Cash App, we salute you. Lola says, $10 to continue my support for you. Keep up the good work. Praying hands. Lola, thank you very much. I truly do appreciate it. We should get this Discord up very soon, guys. But tomorrow, I should be back on the show. But tomorrow, I will be interviewing some people that have to do with the migrant hotel. There are lawsuits unfolding, so I'll be doing that all day. I'll do my best to be on the show tomorrow night. If not, I shall be here. We do the show Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But obviously, if I cannot make it because I'm out in the field reporting, you guys have to understand, I report in the field. I go out and I do reporting, so I can't always make the show. So I hope you guys understand I'm only one man, and I really can't do everything by myself. So thank you guys very much, and I truly appreciate it. I know it may look like, I have a very expensive studio. It may look like I really got it going on, but I really am only one person. So thank you guys very much. Make sure to share this video far and wide. Smash that like button, destroy that like button, hit that bell notification, and toggle on the all selection because YouTube does not want you to. So thank you guys very much. And until next time, America, stay free.